Today on Monkey Life, an anxious time when chimp Tutti's tooth comes out.
This is a rotten, infected tooth that's crumbling.
Concerns for woolly monkey Bueno as his health deteriorates.
We've also noticed that his breathing is getting a bit worse.
And marmoset James meets Mad Max.
Max has gone okay for a few minutes with other individuals and then deteriorated and started getting aggressive and chasing them.
Monkey World in Dorset is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate neglected and abused primates from all over the world.
Really pleased he's made the journey really well.
The park is home to more than 240 monkeys and apes from 18 different species, and the aim is to give them as natural a life as possible. The newest chimp group at the park is Hananyas. There are 19 members from all around the globe. Hananya became the dominant male in 2004 when he was still quite young. But since then, he's grown into a kind leader who still isn't above playing with the other guys. One member of the group is in need of some medical attention.
Open.
Tutti has a problem with her teeth.
She's got a chipped incisor. It's incisor 2 at the top on the right side. Actually quite difficult to see. Tutti does a very nice open mouth presentation, but that incisor's sitting slightly back. There's a gap. But we're happy that the veterinary staff have had a good look at it and they do think it needs to come out. Shoulder.
All the chimps at the park get clicker training to help with basic health checks. They get a reward in return for a specific behaviour, and the click reinforces it. But they've stepped up Tutti's in the last few days.
Good girl, wait. Good girl. We've done some preparatory work with Tutti, and she has taken some injections during training session leading up to the event. So we're pretty confident, as long as she doesn't get suspicious that things are different, that she'll cooperate. Good girl.
The clicker training practice also means primate care staff get a chance to examine the chimps closely every day.
She's not doing anything behaviourally that's indicating that there's a problem. So it's really the really thorough health checking that the staff are doing that have alerted a potential problem.
Tutti came to the park from Saudi Arabia. She was a victim of the illegal pet trade and had been stolen from the wild as a baby. After she was confiscated by the Saudi authorities, she was cared for by a British vet in Jeddah before being flown to the UK to find a home at Monkey World in 2002. She settled in well, and Tutti's now a much-loved member of the group. Today, the team have brought in specialist wildlife vet John Lewis to perform the operation on her tooth. He prepares the anaesthetic, but it will be Cara who administers it.
She's not the best in the group, yeah, OK. She'd be in the OK region, but we've been to preparing her and she's been pretty good.
Time to see if all that training pays off.
Ready to do you as soon as she's had it?
Yes, George.
It's important to follow the daily routine so as not to alarm her. As usual, Hananya's in first.
Good boy, Hananya. Ooh, Tutti.
And Tutti doesn't hesitate.
Good girl.
She has some of the anaesthetic, but not enough to do the job.
Wait, Tutti.
The operation can't go ahead until Tutti is fully unconscious.
OK, she's done. Good girl, Tutti. John and Tracy, she's had that. She had it in 2 lots, but I'm pretty confident she had the whole thing, and now it's just a case of waiting and seeing if she goes to sleep.
John has kept out of the way so as not to distress Tutti.
I'm the vet. No chimp here likes being interfered with by the vet. which isn't a trivial comment, because if I turn up and an animal really doesn't like me or is scared that something is going to happen as a result of me being there, that makes them more anxious. If you're more anxious, now we get into the chemistry of it, the adrenaline levels rise a little bit. They get excited. If they get excited and the adrenaline levels are rising, that sensitizes the heart to some of the adverse effects of anaesthetics.
As soon as John gets the signal that Tutti has fallen asleep, he can check to make sure she's stable and breathing well.
No, let's move her on the stretcher, and I think in the moving we'll find out if she's too light. And she's not responding to ear pinching, but...
Once he's sure the light anaesthetic is working, he can start the extraction. At Bueno's woolly monkey enclosure, their leader is relaxing while the rest of his family get on with their day, knowing they're safe and sound in his care.
Bueno is a favourite for everybody, really, because he is so lovely with his group. He's a nice, calm male. He's not aggressive in any way, so everyone does have a bit of a soft spot for him. I've worked with him for 2 years, and he is this kind of monkey that is always a little bit off in the distance, but that's actually quite nice because he's just leading his group as a dominant male should, and we all love him for that.
The group loves spending time together. But recently, Bueno has struggled with his health, and when he was examined 9 months ago, the X-rays revealed a major problem.
His heart is hugely enlarged. Now that can be damage to heart muscle, it could even be a secondary enlargement because he's been chronically anemic.
He was diagnosed with a terminal heart condition.
We do have Bueno on medication, which is actually taken really well morning and evening.
But the prognosis isn't good. To everyone's dismay, Bueno has lost weight and he's becoming lethargic, a far cry from his usual self.
We've also noticed that his breathing is getting a bit worse because obviously there's something in his chest, so that may be affecting his lungs.
The team fear that Bueno may not be around to look after his troop for very much longer, and that will have a devastating effect on all of them.
A dominant male is so important to every group of woolly monkeys. The dominant male is the protector of the group. They feel safe when they're around the dominant male because he is much larger, he's muscly, he's stronger. It's also his job to try and keep the peace in the group. So if the females have had an argument, the youngsters have been a bit naughty, it's his job to come over and just try and make the whole group run smoothly and feel safe.
The staff are giving him special care so that he can make the most of his time he has left with his family. Whilst the rest of the gang are distracted with yoghurt pots, Bueno's getting a favourite delicacy.
We're just feeding Bueno some extras. He has lost weight over the last 3 weeks, so we just want to supplement his normal group feeds with some extra nice tasty treats, more high-calorie treats. He just loves bananas, so we give him some more bananas each day. He's also getting things like cereals and baby rice, baby porridge, and he does really like bread as well, so we're giving him a few different things throughout the day just to try and keep him a bit happier and give him some nice treats.
For now, Bueno is quite comfortable, and they're doing all they can to make his remaining days as contented as they can be. At the marmoset house, the team are about to introduce James to Mad Max.
New marmoset.
James arrived 8 days ago after being rescued from a pet shop in Canterbury where his only neighbours were predators. And Max has been living on his own since his beloved companion Betty Boo passed away. Betty Boo was the only other marmoset he's ever tolerated in his space.
Max is just very unpredictable. We've had lots of issues with him in the past. He just sort of doesn't really know what to do socially.
Max hasn't been easy to please. They've tried him with 12 other marmosets at the park, and they're hoping James won't be unlucky 13. The two boys have been kept in adjoining bedrooms, but they've always had a solid wall between them, until now. Sociable James shows no hesitation in leaving his room. But Max is more cautious, eyeing up the latest arrival. It's a tense moment, but James isn't put off. And it soon calms down. Alison's been on hand throughout to monitor the meeting.
So far, we're going really well. I mean, I'm always reluctant to say anything because, you know, Max has gone okay for a few minutes with other individuals and then deteriorated and started getting aggressive and chasing them. But so far, James has been really good in terms of ignoring Max. And other than Max giving James a little warning when James first walked up to him, there's been no negative behavior at all. I'm really hopeful because these two boys need friends, and this would be a good opportunity for them if they can keep their tempers under control.
Nine months ago, Bueno was found to have a terminal heart complaint, and his health has been going downhill ever since. He's had the best of medical attention. But despite a brave fight, he's lost more weight and is struggling to catch his breath. It's kinder to put him to sleep peacefully than to let him keep deteriorating. It's a sad day for the team, and the other woolly monkeys have lost the leader of their group.
We've heard a few little contact calls go out as if they're trying to see if they can find out where he's gone to. Obviously, the response isn't there.
Since Bueno arrived at the park in 2005, he's made lots of friends and been a great dad.
Bueno was just brilliant. He just doted on his babies. He just loved having them around.
Bueno has 3 youngsters at the park: Julio, Enzo and Ava, as well as his adopted son, Paolo. For an endangered species with declining numbers, that's a big contribution to the breeding programme, as well as his own family. His oldest will soon be ready to follow in his father's footsteps.
Julio's almost 7 now, so he's almost a big adult boy. He's starting to get the look of Bueno now, actually. He's starting to get all these nice long chest hair so that he'll look nice and impressive. And he's got the big muscles under his chin and forming all around his head. He's very muscular across his back and his shoulders already. So basically, that is Bueno's legacy, the fact that his son is now going to go on and hopefully become a dad himself in the near future if he becomes a dominant male in his own right.
At Hananya's chimpanzee house, Tutti is now under anaesthetic, all set to have a broken front tooth extracted.
No breaks? Oh dear. Pulse ox.
Even though it's a short operation, any anaesthetic can be risky. So they need to monitor her vital signs and make sure she's breathing properly.
Find a toe or... I mean, this is a rotten, infected tooth that's crumbling through decay.
The troublesome tooth is soon dealt with.
They're good. They're very good. It's funny how she broke just the one here.
The small amount of anaesthetic she's been given means she needs to be given gas to keep her unconscious.
Depending on the anaesthetic, you wouldn't necessarily have to do this, but because we want a quick recovery, A, we're keeping her light, and B, we're keeping her very reversible. Along with that comes the potential for her to wake up suddenly, so there's a little bit more messing about, but you'll get a quicker recovery.
It's gone well. Tutti is given an injection to reverse the anaesthetic.
Okay.
And she's left in her bedroom to come round in her own time. They can't relax until they know Tutti has woken up. Tutti's not the only one with dental problems. At the Orang nursery, someone's left a present for the tooth fairy. All the youngsters are trained to show their teeth in return for a reward. So when they all line up for Alison and Jarno to inspect, it doesn't take long to identify the orang with the missing incisor.
There. Wow, good girl.
Oh, good girl. This is the tooth that Jolie lost this morning, and you can just see by the size and shape of it, it's got almost no root at all, the height of it. It's very short and shallow. So they just sort of sit in the top of the gum line, the baby tooth, because babies are eating soft foods and milk and don't really need strong, robust teeth. So as they grow up and develop and the adult teeth drop down, it's very easy for these baby teeth to just be pushed right out.
8-year-old Jolie doesn't seem the least bit bothered by her gappy grin, although she knows something is different.
As any parent will know, losing a tooth really is not that big of a deal. It's a natural course of events. It's a baby tooth, so the roots aren't very deep. But right now, the hole is actually still bloody. It's only recently just fallen out. So she's doing a lot of this, just keeping the air off of it, because anybody, if you remember, when you lose a tooth, as you breathe in, the air going over the socket gives you a little bit of a sharp sensation.
So you feel them in the teeth?
There it is.
In the nursery, losing teeth is just a natural part of growing up. But whilst Jolie's untroubled by her missing tooth, her older friend Hsiao-Ning isn't so happy with what's happening to her mouth.
Morning, guys. What a pretty girl.
First I thought, okay, so is she just come up with a new play face, whether it's blowing raspberries or pulling silly faces? And then I noticed those canine teeth have just come through, the tips of them, and the base of those teeth are really broad and wide. So as they push through the gum line, it is sort of quite sore and a little bit angry, and it just feels awkward.
So Hsiao-Ning's funny faces aren't any laughing matter.
That pulling the lip back is just exposing those canine teeth, getting some cooler air onto the gum surface, and also just sort of checking out what these new things are in her face.
Hsiao-Ning returned to the nursery when she didn't settle with Gordon's adult group. But at 9 years old, her teeth show that she's no longer a baby.
Large adult orangutans can give a very serious, dangerous bite, and those teeth are just very big, strong teeth. So right now, Hsiao-Ning's looking particularly odd because she's got this cartoon face that she's pulling with her two big, huge teeth, and then the canines coming in and pulling her lips back over it all just makes her look very silly and very funny. At the same time, she's had such a lovely new lease of life coming back into the nursery. She's also hanging upside down like a bat, with the lips pulled back and the teeth sticking out. So right now she's just a very oddball character, but we love her for it. "14 months ago, Alison was called in by Merseyside police to help rescue Solomon, a 10-week-old marmoset living in a tiny hamster cage. Today, and I'll look after him. He was confiscated from the home of a pet shop owner who'd been trying to sell him on.
Good boy.
Once at the park, he was introduced to Gabby, and he immediately grabbed hold of her and wouldn't let go. Gabby has been his foster mum ever since. And today, Solomon has a special visitor.
Is that the little man now?
Rachel Kruger is the wildlife crime officer with Merseyside Police, and she's travelled down with her colleague to see how the tiny primate she helped rescue is getting on.
See now, what a beautiful environment for them.
Yeah, no, they do really well out here. And I'll show you if you just go along here. They run along this tunnel, which actually took him quite a while to... Yeah, that's him. Good little man. Big now, hey?
He's huge.
Solomon's grown into a handsome young chap.
It's a world apart from a hamster cage in a shop counter.
Yeah. He's getting, fresh air. He can catch his own insects. He gets daylight. We're giving him D3. All of the things he needs, mainly companionship of his own kind. So, really good. Pleased we can do it.
The pet shop owner in this case was prosecuted on cruelty charges.
In essence, out of 8 charges, he pleaded guilty to 4 of them. And he was sentenced on those 4. So it was a good result.
Solomon was lucky that he came to the attention of Rachel and Alison.
Sadly, there are so many marmosets that I can't even take all of them that we're asked to take. It's only certain individuals. I knew we could sort him because he was so little. But sadly, there are many that we have to turn away and that have to spend their days in bird cages and sitting rooms.
It's the end of the day at the park. Tutti is back with her group after her tooth operation. The surgery went well, but she's looking a bit sorry for herself. Whilst Valerie and the rest of the gang are busy making their beds for the night, Tutti's still not quite up to joining in. Just like Valerie, Tutti's usually very particular about where her bedding should be for a comfy night's sleep. But it's been a difficult day for her. And Evelyn's too busy with her own blanket to worry about Tutti. Everyone's in need of a good night's rest. Maybe it'll all feel better in the morning. Next time on Monkey Life, drama at the hospital with marmoset James.
Whoa, have you seen these lungs? What the hell's going on in his chest?
And a life-changing decision at the orang nursery.
One of the first times ever that we've sent an orangutan away from the park, and we've actually found a really good home for Hsiao-Ning.